Well, just you have to go in and do whatever's to be done in the horse barn.
How old were you?
9, yeah. And you have to clean the stables, clean behind the horses, brush them down, and feed them. You know, and make sure the whole barn is clean. And that was every day and all day jobs for us little guys. Yeah.
That was your first job. What other jobs did you have while you were there?
Working in the fields, and working in the cow barn, and the hog barn. And
what kind of work? Like for a city person, they have no idea what it's like to work in a barn. What kind of? Can you describe?
You had to clean behind the cows. You cleaned all the manure out, and you made sure the cows were clean. Like a lot of them would lay down outside and come back in. When we brought them back in, you had to brush them all down, and they had to be washed before they were milked. Because they had about around 90 milking cows, and we had to do all that work, and we had to feed them, and clean the barn, and separate the milk, and whatever was to be done in the barn, like a dairy barn. If you didn't do that, yeah, you got whacked. I've seen a lot of kids get beat up, besides myself, by the farm boss. We had a couple of farm bosses that were really mean, and that was every day. They were knocking somebody around. Never.
In what way? With their fists? Or
yeah, fists, and most of it was bare hand too, beside the head. And in the school here, was strappings, lots of strappings. Yeah, and we'd get beat up because we couldn't do the work of all heavy, heavy farm work. Well, we couldn't do it, and we'd get a strapping if we couldn't do it.
Did you ever get any serious injuries?
Yeah, I have two. I have a scar here, and I got one on top of my head. At the principal done that with his fists when I was 9 years old, and I was only here for 2 months when he done that.
What had you done to make him so mad?
I don't know. I don't know what I'd done. I was writing a letter to my mother, and I'll tell you what really happened, if you want to put it down.
Yeah.
We used to bath on Saturdays. Like, everybody bathed on Saturday. And change your clothes. If your clothes were there, you changed. 3 in a tub or so. Well, my mother gave me a ring, and it was a little big. And while I was bathing, I lost my ring. So that was on a Saturday. So Sunday morning, I went down there and looking around in the tubs to see if I could find my ring. And I know the guy that done this, but he left a crap in the bathtub. He was one of the last ones in there. And the principal's wife seen me, Mrs. Strapp, and she reported to me. Reported to the principal. While I was writing my letter, he come into a reading room there. And the first thing he done was grab the hold of me and he hit me in the side of the head here. And they hit me in the top of the head and threw me around in the room. And they cut my head open in both places, up here and on top. And so they took me up to the a nurse's, where the nurse had an office up there. I don't think she was a nurse, this one, but anyway, she passed me up a little bit and that was it. I never went to a doctor, and I didn't see no doctor, and there was no reports of any bruises or anything like that. And we never had access to phones and, rides to the doctor and stuff like that. It was virtually a prison we were in. Like, I always called it a kind of a camp where, where they kept the Japanese in the war. Internment camp. Yeah, it was like that. There's really a lot of history in the school, but not very good. not very good history. Just cruelty, a lot of cruelty, lack of education, and I guess we could go to why these schools were designed. But a lot of people don't know why these schools were designed. And they were designed to assimilate the native race through the children. And by putting them in these schools, denied them education, and made to feel inadequate, like, you know, it didn't made you feel shame, inadequate. You kind of lost your I forget what, I don't know how to say that, but you know how you have ability and stuff to do stuff, you know, you lose that in there. Your initiative, you lose all that because you're pounded around all the time, and you got to do what they say. They give you these books to read. Whether you believe it or not, you have to read it. And a lot of us, we never believed that stuff in these books, you know. And that's part of their goal, was to assimilate us. Like this minister always wore this white collar, and even when he was beating you up, he had the collar on. That's mind-boggling. Yeah. And when he hit you, man, you felt it. Like, I got many strappings right on my bare bum, and these were straps. The straps was that long and about that wide, and if you didn't cry, it'd just keep hitting you. But if you made a little whimper or something, well, you quit, you know. But a lot of times you never cry, and you just keep pounding you till you got tired, I guess. I've had my back, right up my back, just purple from getting the strap, you know. And I run away a lot here, and that was one of the reasons that running away all the time. I had to find a way out of here. So the only way I could get out is run away. Then the Mounties would bring us back, and that's when we got the strap again. Yeah. But they strap you for anything at all. It didn't matter what you done. They wouldn't believe you. For one thing, if they had a group of boys or children talking away, and a lot of them would use their own language, and somebody heard you, if they heard you, they'd ask you what you were talking about, and you say, you wouldn't tell them, and you get the strap. You know, it's a funny thing. The principal, when I was there for the first 3 years, his name was Strap. That was his last name.
Really?
Yeah. It was a fitting name for that cruel bugger, you know. He just really, it's sad. You know, it's sad that something like this had to happen in this nice place. But we survived, you know. We're still here. We're not going away either. Yeah. But the biggest part that really hurt is education. Like, they just pushed you through the grades. Like, I went to grade 8 here, but I found out later that grade 8 was equivalent to grade 6 away from this place, maybe even 5. It made them look good, made the teachers look good to the government, you know, that we were advancing. But really the school was made to it was really made to teach the boys to be laborers, not to go to high school or anything like that. Just enough education to be a laborer, and the girls to be domestic slaves. That's what education was about. That's as far as it went.
Did it end at grade 8, or did?
Grade 8, yeah.
Is that when you finally escaped?
Pardon?
Is that when you finally were able to leave the place?
Well, I left in 1946. They closed it up because there was too many children here that couldn't work the farm. Like, I couldn't go out and drive tractors and that, 9, 10 years old, you know, and work in the fields. So we just closed it up. The food we got here was just, oh geez, a gag of maggot. Yeah, it was just rotten stuff. A lot of the times we used to make porridge, like rolled oats in the barn. And some was fed to the calves, and the other ones, they cooked up for us. Rolled oats, and made it called porridge, like, you know, oatmeal. And a lot of the times was little crawly things in there. Not proper refrigeration, or, you know, and overall school was just, it was just gross. The cleanliness and stuff like that of the school, the whole school was unsanitary. And we were sick all the time too, a lot of sickness here. With all different kinds of sickness. Quarantined, you know. And
TB and polio and stuff?
Not, I think maybe it might have been a couple of TB, but a lot of scarlet fever, measles, and whooping cough and stuff like that. And there was a lot of whooping cough, which I had too. And just lack of real medical attention. Yeah. If you got sick, they just left you in a room with the rest of them. You know, they were quarantined. Mm-hmm. And just cruel.
Where were your parents for all of this?
They were, my mother lived here, and my father, he split the scene way back, and she had a rough time, you know, to survive too. Well, that was tough times. Yeah. Yeah. You would not believe this place. It was good, I guess, for some people, but I think I was kind of bullheaded and hard to learn. You know, I was slow to learn, and I took a lot of beatings for that. Not only me, but a lot of other kids. You take a native kid that comes from up in the north, and you bring him down here, and he's got to learn all this kind of stuff here. They teach him, and it doesn't sink in.
If you had a message for that principal now that you're a man, what would it be?
The principal? Well, if he was still around, I don't know what I would do. A few years ago I knew what I would have done, but I've kind of mellowed out since, you know. But at times, when I was in this school, if I'd have had a gun, I would have shot a half a dozen of them, you know, yeah, at the time. They were so cruel. And but that principal today, I don't know if, first of all, I'd probably stick my finger in his eye and give him a strapping. Yeah, not only me, but the girls too. He beat them girls so bad, a lot of them girls, yeah. And the same way, pull our pants down and just hammer them with that big strap. They all had big straps, the teachers and that. And there was, I can name the ones that beat me up. Was there Richardson, Dodds, Johnson, and Richardson, Dodds, Johnson, McPherson, and the strap, the principal. Yeah, it was good. After 1944, we got a new principal here. He was a little more mellow, and things got a little bit better towards the end. it was still, they still had their straps. They never got rid of them.
Of course, all those names you rhymed off, none of them sounded native.
No, they're all white. Or non-natives, I guess you say, non-native. And they use the word Indian in that, when they talk about the school, in that Indian, residential Indian day school. Well, that's the name they hung on us. They hung Indian on us, like, we're not Indians, we don't come from India. You know? But we're Chippewas, there, you know. And we've got our Chippewas, we have Mohawks, we got Oneidas, and you know, that's the people.